Hey, it's Rachel. A lot of people reach out to me because they want to know the most effective way to motivate responsible behavior from their children, and that's obviously a really good thing to do. But what they ask me is, what's the most effective punishment to use in order to motivate better behavior when a child is misbehaving? And you've probably found that punishment actually doesn't work in the long run. I almost think of it like if you're weeding your garden and you pull out the weeds from the top but you leave the root in the ground, well, those weeds are going to pop right back up. And the same is true of behavior. If a child is misbehaving and we just try to shape that behavior through punishment, and we leave the root of the behavior in the ground, or we don't address what's causing that behavior is just going to pop right back up next time. So if you have a child who's not turning in their homework and you just punish them for not turning in their homework without figuring out why they're not being successful and giving them different tools to be successful, that child is just going to forget their homework again if all you're relying on is punishment. So in order to be successful in motivating this responsible behavior, the best thing we can do is actually teach children tools to be successful. So for example, if you have a child who's not coming to the dinner table because they're in the middle of watching a video game or watching a TV show, they're probably missing a tool to transition from the thing that feels good to the thing that they don't care as much about, which in this case is coming to dinner. A lot of adults struggle with this too. It's very hard to transition from something that feels good to something that doesn't. So do we let our children just do everything that feels good? Absolutely not. But what we do is we give them tools to be successful. So if you want to help a child transition, you actually teach them how to transition. Instead of trying to yank them out of their world that feels really good, you talk to them about what they're doing, what they were watching or what they were playing as you walk them to the dinner table. And that actually gives them a tool to be more successful so that the next time you ask them to transition, they know how to do it. Or if you have a child who's struggling with homework, you have to find out why they're struggling with homework, and often it's because children struggle with monotonous tasks. That's because children are wired for novelty and stimulation, so if a homework task is monotonous, they're going to be distracted by anything novel or stimulating around them, which is almost always something more than the homework. So what do? You give them the tools to deal with monotonous homework by helping them make that homework a little bit more engaging for them. So if you have a child who's interested in sports and statistics, you can have them do a few math problems and then intersperse that with some statistics about a sports player that they enjoy. The point is to make that homework assignment a little bit more engaging by allowing them to think of something that they enjoy. Or if you think that's going to be distracting, then what you can do is actually teach them how to focus on the task at hand while using their bodies. So you could actually ask them to sit on a stability ball or hold some fidget toys. And in that way, their body is engaged in another activity, but they can still focus on the thing that they're doing. So giving them tools to be successful with monotony is much more effective than punishing them for not doing their homework. And I learned this lesson really well the other day, actually very recently in my home. Because my daughter just got new shoes that she had to tie herself. She just learned how to tie her shoes. And every day was just taking her a little too long to tie her shoes, and it was getting too close for comfort to when the bus was going to come. So I tried to motivate her to go a little bit more quickly. I used some natural consequences by saying, if you tie your shoes a little bit more quickly, then you'll have more time to play. Well, that wasn't working at all. But one day she put on her shoes really quickly and she had a lot of time to play. So I said to her, well, what changed? And she said, the truth is, Daddy taught me a new way to tie my shoes that was just much faster. So what had happened was I was trying to use these natural consequences when all she really needed was a tool to be able to tie her shoes more quickly. So that's an example of how if we give children tools instead of punishing them, it's going to be much more effective. So if you're wondering what tools your child may be missing in any scenario or how you teach these tools, please feel free to reach out to me at rachel@rachel-bailey.com. I'll see you next time.